Hello and welcome, I'm your host Elizibar. This is Deep Beyond issue 5, and after reading issue 4, which introduced like crazy alien robot swordsman things and all sorts of just absolutely mad stuff, and showed that the thing, the thing that ties the world together is like a portal to an alien universe or alien planet or something like that, I was kind of left wondering if I was going to like the rest of the series. I was like, man, what's going to go on in issue 5? What is the next thing? What's coming up? Well, sat down, mustered up the courage, and I read issue 5. And except for the fact that it's mostly exposition, like that's kind of a bummer, right? There's a lot of, hey, we're trying to make things make sense for you, the reader. Uh, of course, the exposition is just like I'm reading a wall description about their world. I'm actually reading the characters talking to each other about their world, so it's a little more interesting. I lost my train of thought there, but the idea that what I'm trying to get across is there's a lot of exposition, but it's like good stuff. It starts answering questions in a way that's meaningful. It starts making things make a little sense, and the twist at the very end maybe wasn't such a twist. So we get this first page here, and it's an interesting layout, right? Like it's one picture, you got bars breaking it up like panels. You get the 4 panels, but it's just his head. So why would you do that? And this, after having read the whole issue, is actually really clever. These aliens manipulate space time. So things that are like, we live in a world that's linear, A to B, straight line. That's how this works. And maybe, we could really get into the fine arguments of the fact that we live in a Minkowski tensor space. There's curvature based on the mass of objects and all that, so nothing is really linear, not even in deep space. And if you go to the microscopic scale, things are even, weirder and more different there. But I don't think that really matters. To a great approximation, we live in a linear space. Euclid was right. Well, these aliens can manipulate it, so they can do truly amazing things. And I'm dwelling on this because that's what this is showing us. They can cut space just like the artist can. They can cut space and join it together however they want. They can stitch space together. So they've done it to his head. So his head is like, I presume, still like stuck to his body through a spatial manipulation, but it sure doesn't look like it here. Like when you first read this, you're like, oh my god, they've cut his head off. And then there's a little more explanation, and that's maybe kind of spoilery, but a lot of this book is kind of centered around that kind of spatial manipulation. So that opening segment, then the immediate danger that's presented really draws you in. And then they start explaining it through experimentation and dialogue that these aliens can manipulate space, that they can stitch things together. So these prison cells can't be escaped because one side of the cell just goes to the other. So if you try to walk out, you walk back in. It's kind of like a Kenny Rogers song, Pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed this as a math nerd, physicist type person. Like, I'm fully on board with this. And other stuff, like all the dialogue, actually was pretty interesting to read. The least interesting character talking about is actually this nerd right here, the scientist that was living in the station. Everybody else, much more interesting to read. And maybe he's the least interesting simply because he like info dumps at us more than any of the other individual characters do. The art's nice, the writing's nice. This was fun. It's kind of like a breather between stuff. There is a little bit of action here. Like we got some exploitation of spatial, temporal, physical, manifold stuff. Pretty cool, pretty satisfying. I had a lot of fun reading it. I had a lot of fun thinking about it in the minutes between when I read it and when I decided to record this. Like my brain was just like chugging along. One interesting thing in the book is about the portal itself, and I'm not going to spoil that. If you want to know about it, you should read the dang book. This book has so far been pretty much fun. It's thrown me a couple of curveballs, and I can dig that. I absolutely can. It's enjoyable, and I don't know what else you can expect out of a comic book. You all take care of yourselves. You have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. So I'll see you again. Bye bye.